I want
I
to
do have
start
one
off by
question.
talking about last
Oh,
night's
okay.
round two, game one reactions of the Nuggets versus Suns. My prediction coming in the series was Denver, and I felt like yesterday we saw one of the deficiencies with this Suns group, and it's that they have nobody to guard Jamal Murray. Murray goes off for 34-9. It felt like his first playoff game back from 2020, though he did play 5 in round one versus the T-Wolves, and he had 30 plus in their game 5 victory. But look, for Phoenix, a lot of the discussion was how could Denver guard them? I think the real question this series, guys, is how are the Suns going to guard the incredibly dynamic three-level scoring duo, the tandem of Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray? Because in this game, Jokic did not play his best. He had still 8 offensive rebounds, I think 7 of which in the first quarter, mostly on DeAndre Ayton, or not on DeAndre Ayton, finishing with 19 points and 5 assists. Which one of you would like to start off first with maybe, how Phoenix projects going forward in the series and maybe how they can expose some of the Nuggets' weaknesses?
I'll say this because I feel like a lot of these playoff games, and this is not just targeting you two, but you guys jump to conclusions very early. Very early. If 2 games into a playoff series, it can be 1-1. Just going back, Knicks game 2. It all felt like it was over when we saw what Cleveland did defensively against the Knicks. A lot of people lost faith. Things turn around. I think it's just very early in the series. Teams still feeling each other out. I'm not too worried about the Suns and what they can do on offense. It wasn't their best game. And it's tough to beat a team when they make at least 10 plus threes more than you. Yeah, at that point, they're just raining it down on you, and you're not scoring at that level. So I think it just takes a little bit of time. They're in Denver. Wait till the game gets back to Phoenix, and I think we'll see a completely different series. It's too early. It's game one. And what does Brandon always say? Game one is the biggest toss-up, right? And that's exactly what it is. So no panic, not looking too much into what Phoenix is lacking, what Denver just has, because Denver played great basketball last night. But Jamal Murray isn't going to be on every single game. And you're right, Jokic didn't have his best night offensively, but he had a good night. He had a good night.
There's a
So
lot.
yeah, he did a lot, and but that's exactly what you expect, and we expect that from every single game in the series. But we don't know what the supporting cast is always going to bring around Jokic. Sometimes it will be consistent, sometimes it won't be. But just wait. We'll see. Phoenix will turn up.
All right, so obviously, I think you guys can, if you guys are watching, you can tell Justin is the one who picked the Phoenix Suns to win this series, where he's telling everybody to calm down. Now, I don't know how you're telling me that I jump to conclusions a lot when I feel like I have been consistently the most patient person on
Oh,
this podcast, where I say, "Well, let's pump the brakes, everybody. Let's not jump to conclusions or anything." I feel like I've been pretty consistent on that. So I don't know where you got that from, but
okay.
yeah, okay. All right, so I like the Suns and Nuggets game one. What I saw was DeAndre Ayton to me, not, and I'm not, like I've said multiple times, I'm
You're about
not.
to make John so happy.
No, I'm not, because I'm about to say this.
Say
I'm not
it.
hard. I'm not hard on DeAndre Ayton like John is. I believe DeAndre Ayton is a good basketball player. I believe he is a all-star caliber center. 20 and 10 or around 20 and 10 is something you don't roll out of the bed and average. Okay. That is hard to do. But what I will say is he doesn't fit this team. He doesn't what his strengths aren't what the Phoenix Suns need from their big men. They need a big man who can really just be like a Kevon Looney, a Draymond Green type. You know what I mean? Set picks, play really good defense, pass the ball. And DeAndre Ayton, those aren't his strengths. Can he rebound? Sure. But he's more of a give it to him low and let him take some shots. Let him be the offense. And that's just not the case when you got KD and Devin Booker and Chris Paul, who's the point guard, setting everything up. That he just seems like the odd man out. So for me, it's just 35. I don't know how much he's making a year, 35 million plus, I would, guess. That to one center for them isn't what's the best game plan, especially with what is the Phoenix Suns' weakness, Justin? As the guy who picked the Phoenix Suns, what's their one weakness?
Oh, they can't shoot the three.
Well, All right, but I feel like their number one weakness is depth.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, that's
So,
it too.
and when you have all this money accumulated on the top talent, Chris Paul, KD, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, all these guys making the ton of money. You're top heavy as shit. So when you have that, you look at it and you go, well, is everybody providing what we need from them? Because what do we don't have? We also don't have defense. We could take that 35 million plus that DeAndre Ayton is making. Not that he's not a bad player. I want to reiterate, he's not a bad player. He doesn't fit what the Phoenix Suns need. Trade him away and get like 2 big men where you can basically pay them both the amount of money you're paying one center, and they can do just as much, if not more, for you because you got 2 of them now. Because when they put Biyombo in the game, Jokic is eating him. It's not even close. At least DeAndre is 7 feet tall. He can at least put his arms up. I know he's soft, but at least he's something. Biyombo is not. It's just they lack the depth, and I'm not overreacting, Justin. I still believe it's a 7-game series. I do believe Denver is going to take it. I said that, but one thing that was bad is for last night's game, the Suns had the lead. The last time they had the lead was 9:46 left in the second quarter. After that, they never even sniffed it. So and last thing, the Suns are going to struggle on the road. And I saw it last night. And if you watched it, you saw it. The Mile High City is real. Chris Paul, KD, they're older. You saw how lethargic they got in the fourth quarter. How many minutes are they playing a night because of that lack of depth? It's going to be tough. 7-game series, but it is going to be a tough go for the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, Brent, I think you made a great point there with Ayton. Now, to be honest with you, what I think they could also use an extra wing off the bench. And DeAndre in this game, there was one sequence in the first quarter where Nikola Jokic gets 4 offensive rebounds playing volleyball at the rim. And fortunately for Ayton, he didn't score off a second chance here, but Ayton is literally out of the play. He's walking out of bounds, just watching Jokic compete with, I think it was Devin Booker on the glass, and he's not getting back into the play. And that to me was kind of just like summing up DeAndre Ayton. Ayton is one of the best matchups for Jokic when he's locked in. But last night we saw he's defensively, we'll talk about that first, not a good pick and roll defender. He's one of the worst rim protectors at the center position. He has been for quite a while, but now they don't have Mikal Bridges every single game to help him out on the perimeter, which is what he had for every year of his career. Every single game that DeAndre Ayton played, he had Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson alongside him. Kevin Durant was really good last night defensively. He recorded 3 blocks, I think all of which were in the first half, and you could feel his presence off the action, whereas that weak side rim protector. That's going to help Ayton in this matchup. But one thing I was surprised by in Phoenix was that Monty Williams didn't go enough to Chris Paul and pick and roll. If there's one weakness for this Denver team, it is exactly that. Because Jokic, what it's Devin Booker or Kevin Durant, he can leave Chris Paul open. For Chris Paul's career, he's never been a spot-up shooter, right? He's always been on the ball. And if he's not going to make you pay, which last night he went 1 of 5 from three-point range, you can double. You can have Jokic hedging a pick and roll. But if Chris Paul's the ball in his hands, you can't do that with Devin Booker or Kevin Durant. So one thing I'm expecting Monty Williams to hammer a lot of is Chris Paul pick and rolls for Brandon. If there's one thing that DeAndre Ayton does do at an exceedingly good level, it is those soft mid-range floaters off the roll where it's a 15 to 8-footer. He's money on those. And Jokic, if he's going to guard the 3-point line, it's not going to help him recover. So that's going to be there all game long for Ayton. And if the Suns are going to win the series, it's going to be because of DeAndre Ayton. If they lose the series, it's also going to be because of DeAndre Ayton. I think he can be a top 5 center. And 2 years ago in the playoffs, he was a top 5 center. He had some amazing stretches. That's against Ivica Zubac now. But against Nikola Jokic, he has to prove he can play. He can hang with the top bigs in the game. And to go on a brief little side tangent here, this is why in the drafts, you can't take a big man that struggles to protect the rim. It doesn't have a true game-changing skill in the top 3 of the class because Ayton doesn't initiate offense. Like I said before, he's not a good rim protector, and he limits the Suns in a couple of different ways for as much as he can add in the mid-range area. And I think for this team, you got out-rebounded 8-16 on the offensive glass. You took yourself 5 threes in the first half. It was either 5 3-point makes or 5 3-point attempts. But either way in the series, the Nuggets are going to get double the offensive rebounds probably, and double the three-pointers. And that game for a Phoenix team that's on the road going into the Mile High, but also has less depth. Landry Shamit's your six-man some nights, man. He might be the worst rotation player in the league. I don't know what he does. Like, not to be come down hard on my man, because he was good with the Clippers 5 years ago. But I feel like when Landry Shamit's on the floor, he's just doing strict cardio. That's all he's doing. Like, if you could have me play out there for 25 minutes, I'm sure I can get off one three-point look too, which he usually misses. It's unbelievable. He gets paid $10 million to play for this team.
Yeah, one thing that shocked me about the Phoenix Suns bench is Campaign is apparently healthy and he's not getting any playing time, which is interesting to me because he was very important to their championship run a couple of years ago. It's going to be, listen, this is what I want to speak on. My boy Jamal Murray, we got to speak on this. Put on an absolute show. Showed his This fake Denver fan, fake Jamal Murray fan over here walked out of the room when I said Jamal Murray was better than Tyrese Halliburton. Justin, he walked out of the room. That made him that mad. Yeah, that's what made him mad.
It wasn't because of Jamal. It's because it felt like you're disrespecting Tyrese, bro.
You disrespected Jamal Murray by walking your reaction, and he's showing you right now. You're talking about a guy who's at home on the couch. No offense. And Jamal Murray's in the playoffs balling out.
Again.
Among Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, Jokic, Michael Porter Jr., Chris Paul, Jamal Murray was the best player on the court last night. Think about it. This man is, listen, we were robbed. He should be entering his prime right now, but the injury delayed it. It looks like he's getting that back pretty fast, faster than usual, than other people do. I'm telling you, what you saw in the bubble was not an aberration. This kid is special. He's about it. And this Murray, and I don't understand, Jokic is on the court. Murray plays so well off of him, and it makes Murray a better player. Of course it does. Great players make other great players better. So, but the mesh between Murray and Jokic, the chemistry, that's what separates it. And that's what said, like, these two work so well together. It is a special unit these two guys are. I tweeted this. Nikola Jokic is the best player on the team. But that crowd loves them some Jamal fucking Murray.
You want to know why, Brandon?
Why?
Because 2 years ago, they had to watch and endure Facu Campazzo starting at point guard instead.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about all that, but I think it's mostly has to do with Jamal Murray is that guy. That guy.
That too. Yes.
Like when Jokic's impact on the game is so unspoken. Like it doesn't it impacts obviously, right? But to a level where the crowd gets invested into it, it's not that much. Jamal Murray,
it pops more.
Oh yeah, it does. Pop. I mean, the dude was 6 of 10 from 3 last night.
Go ahead, Justin.
I think that they're the best offensive duo in the league. I don't think it's KD and Booker because they just play so well off of each other, and their games are so complementary. It's not a shot at KD and Book, but you have the best playmaker in the world and one of the most pure scorers from all three.
When you add chemistry to it, yes, because D Book and KD are just gonna. I know D Book has been averaging assists lately, but they're mostly just put their head down and go score the ball.
Yeah, none of them are passing the ball quite like the Joker. So, and I think that's. I don't even know if that's debatable right now, at least from the teams left standing. Good point.
If Murray is on, I know like Michael Porter Jr. might be the true X factor for this run for the Denver Nuggets because if he's making his 3-point shots, if he's making his 3-point shots, like that's a major difference maker.
Mm-hmm.
But man, Jamal Murray, if he's going to basically, because Jokic isn't really a true number one scoring option. He can be, but he usually defers. Jamal Murray can be that guy. And if he's on it, this is going to be a tough unit to stop. Now, still, listen, Denver still lacks defensively. I tweeted out, this is such an evenly matched series.
Really?
They are, John. They're not that.
I'm surprised by that. Because
Like,
I think
I'm
last
not a
night
big
we saw Denver's a lot of bodies to throw on KD and Booker. They have a lot of bodies. In the
Mhm.
starting lineup, you have KCP and Aaron Gordon. But then that second shift, you throw in Bruce
Oh,
Brown, Christian Brown, and Jeff Green could do a little bit of something too. He almost had himself a huge charge call on Kevin Durant, I think it was, maybe somebody else.
yeah.
They have 4 or 5 different bodies they can throw on the wings that are all 6'5" to 6'9". Whereas the Nuggets, whereas the Suns, you have Torrey Craig, Josh Okogie, who takes one shot in 20 minutes. That's just about it. Because Devin Booker and Kevin Durant are good defenders, but they've got to take care of it on offense. They can also every
Yeah.
single
Yeah.
game be
But
impact players
but
on
Yeah.
John,
defense.
go ahead, Justin.
No, I was gonna say it's no secret that this is an uphill battle for the Suns. I mean, Brandon, you touched on the depth. It's a different team if you add Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson to this group, and then you have so much more confidence in what they can
Oh
do.
yeah.
But you're asking a lot out of Kevin Durant, Booker, CP, and Ayton in this series. But I get what you say, John, that it doesn't feel, you don't think it's evenly matched. But if I have to put my faith in those three, in Devin Booker, KD, and CP, obviously Ayton is the wild card. And yeah, I believe it is the real X factor in this because he has to step up big against the best player in the NBA.